Welcome to Dateline Schools, a presentation of St. Clair County RESA, with your host, Chris Troy.
Keeping our waterways safe while educating middle school students has been what a unique experiment had set out to do. The Middle School Innovation Academy was formed to give students a better understanding about the world they live in, and to help us better understand the process is St. Clair County RESA's Supervisor of Innovation and Design Thinking, Rachel Versay. Rachel, thanks a lot for being with us today.
Thanks for having me, Chris.
So tell me, Rachel, what's going on here today?
Well, today is a culmination of a semester-long class that we call the Middle School Innovation Academy here at RESA. We invite 7th graders from across the county to come and participate, and they have been engaging in a community challenge throughout the semester that has been presented in conjunction with Friends of the St. Clair River.
And is this a new program? I don't know if I've ever heard of this. Tell me about it.
This is one of our really awesome programs that I think we were pretty quiet about for the most part. It's very small, but it has been going on in some form or another for quite some time. The latest rendition is the Middle School Innovation Academy, where we use problem solving and design thinking to address a community problem before doing what the students will be doing today and presenting to a panel of community stakeholders who really care about the issue.
So what issue were the students handed to try to solve?
This semester, Friends of the St. Clair River asked them to protect the Cuttle Creek, so a local creek that has already undergone restoration efforts, a really great piece of water here in Marysville, and the city of Marysville owns the golf course that has direct access, so the Friends of the St. Clair River helped us get there and partner with the city to give this really awesome experience to the students.
Well, this really sounds almost like a STEM project. Is that right?
Although it's not intended to be, I think that's what has worked out. It's really, we try and integrate all learning, all subject areas in this to give the students an opportunity to develop all of their 21st century skills, the skills that they'll need in life regardless of their next direction after they're with us in K-12. So it does embed a lot of science, of course, being out in nature, a lot of communication, teamwork, writing, and all of those things that go into really addressing all aspects of an issue.
Thanks, Rachel. We're now joined by a couple of the students who presented their findings to the Friends of the St. Clair River Committee, as well as others who were involved in the program. What is your name and what group were you in?
I'm Aiden and I was in group 6.
And Aiden, what was your idea?
Biodegradable golf balls.
And what surprised you when you guys first started working on this program?
How much a tiny solution could make?
Were you surprised at just how many golf balls you guys found out there?
Yes, very much so.
Hi, what's your name and what group were you in?
I'm Samantha Burke, and I was in the group The Potatoes.
Samantha, what did you find most surprising when you first started this project?
How we were working on all the phosphate levels and everything about the ecosystem, and especially all the invasive species we found in the ecosystem.
Do you think being part of this group maybe changed the way you looked at things?
It made me think about how much the little things can affect the ecosystem. Like just one small Phragmites can spread everywhere and kill animals in the ecosystem.
Do you think you want to be part of this project again when we do it?
Yes, I'd love to be a part of it.
What is your name and what group were you in?
I'm Noah Halilai and I was in The Potatoes.
What was your guys' idea?
Our idea was to get rid of all invasive species in Cuttle Creek.
What was the biggest surprise you had when you first started this?
One of my biggest surprises about Cuttle Creek is that how many Phragmites that were there. People might not know what Phragmites are, but they're kind of like those little things that look like wheat that you see by the road that are in dishes. Those are invasive species, but people think they're just like little plants, which is really shocking to me because I never knew that before.
What's your name?
My name is Winshara.
What group were you in?
Team Tree.
And what was your guys' idea?
Our idea was to stop chemical levels from increasing or decreasing rapidly.
And how were you going to do that?
We were going to create a device that could monitor these levels so we could find out the different levels and stop before it hurts the whole creek.
What was the biggest surprise? Did you guys really learn something that you didn't know before you started this?
I learned a lot. There was a lot more going on with Cuttle Creek than I thought. When I first started this project, I just thought invasive species was the biggest thing. But now I know there are many things that can be solved in different parts of the creek.
Well, you did a great job today. Thanks so much. With Cuttle Creek being the main focus on the Marysville Golf Course, I thought we should sit down with the green superintendent from the course, Brian Lentz. Brian, thanks for being with us today.
Oh, thank you. It was a pleasure.
So you were able to watch these kids come up with these ideas, and actually you're in the position to implement maybe some of them. The numbers of the phosphates and all that is something that kind of comes dear to your heart, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. The kids did just an outstanding job on all facets of ecology of Cuttle Creek. They came up with out-of-the-box ideas of what we could do to implement and make Cuttle Creek a better growing medium for the ecosystem.
You know, I'm sure a lot of people don't really realize just what it goes into to maintain a golf course like you have to do as far as dealing with not just the greens and the fairways, but those rough areas as well.
Yes, rough areas are very difficult to take care of. One, it's costly. We have a lot of trees at the golf course, and whenever you have trees, it costs money. So to maintain these areas, unless you have a large budget, you just kind of, hopefully, Mother Nature will do their thing and, protect the environment. And through drainage, we can watch the flow of water and keep it clean for the Cuttle Creek areas.
I was really amazed watching these kids talk about the habitat that is there in Cuttle Creek. That's something you're well aware of, isn't it?
Yes, it is, and it wasn't until 2014 when we received the grant from the federal government to rebuild Cuttle Creek that I learned that much more about all the different species and the plants and the trees that contribute to clean water and how the flow of water affects the creek. They put in at least 10,000 different plants, shrubs, trees in this entire project over 2,000 feet. And every tree and plant does something to keep that creek clean.
Since the water that flows through Cuttle Creek ends up in the St. Clair River, monitoring the river is critical. In the city of Marysville, that would be the water filtration and sewage plant, and keeping it up to date is Supervisor Barry Rubel. Barry, thanks for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
So kind of for those who are out there listening, you're there at the water filtration plant. What are some of your duties?
Actually, I run both the water and the wastewater treatment plants, so we do everything from providing water to the residents and commercial buildings in the city to treating the water that they send back to us before it goes back to the St. Clair River.
You know, watching these students talk about these programs that they came up with and the phosphate numbers and all that may have gone over my head a little bit, but you understood what they were talking about, didn't you?
Yes, I did. There was a few of them, a few different projects they had that actually are in effect right now. We have a network system of monitoring probes from Port Huron all the way down to Lake Erie, and that network is tied all together for about 13 different water plants. If one has a detection of some sort of chemical, all the water plants can be notified of that, and we use ours every day. And that was one of the projects one of the teams came up with, something like that, monitoring the Cuttle Creek. And it's a real world viable option because it is in effect, that type of equipment is in effect and in use right now.
And that was kind of the task given to these kids, is come up with a real-world solution to some of these problems. It's great, isn't it, to see some of these kids actually come up with plans that, whether they know it or not, are being implemented.
Well, it's funny because some of the setups that we do use today, we've spent small fortunes on engineering firms to come up with these things. And here today we saw a group of 7th graders that had the same ideas, and they were free.
Now, I think you're referring to the plants with the longer roots, correct?
Yeah, the plants, the native plants for erosion control that we in the city of Marysville use along River Road. Again, that network system of monitoring the water, those type of things are engineered projects that, to see 7th grade kids come up with today was pretty inspiring to see that kids could think of that stuff on their own.
Having Middle School Innovation Academy students team up with the Friends of the St. Clair River provided an amazing learning opportunity for the 20-plus Academy students. But just how did they team up? To explain how it all came together is the educational director from the Friends of the St. Clair River, Melissa Kivel. Melissa, thanks for being with us today.
Thanks for having me, Chris.
So how did Friends of the St. Clair River get involved with the Middle School Innovation Academy?
Well, Rachel Vershev, who's the director of the Middle School Innovation Academy, came to us and requested that we be a community partner with her group of students in order to tackle a real-world challenge. And that's what Friends of the St. Clair River does, is we deal with environmental protection.
What was the goal of the students? What problem were they presented to solve?
Well, we pitched the idea of, or the challenge of, how do we protect Cuttle Creek? This has been historically the site of a multi-million-dollar restoration project, and Friends of the St. Clair River just keeps an eye on those to make sure that they're all doing well. And so we invite the students to come with us out into the field to explore that challenge further and just come up with their ideas on how we can protect Cuttle Creek.
So you talked about was it a grant that restored Cuttle Creek, and how long ago did that happen?
Well, back in 2016, the city of Marysville led this restoration project that was funded with Great Lakes Restoration Initiative funds. And it was about over $2 million that went into restoring Cuttle Creek to provide beneficial habitat for fish and wildlife.
What is your goals kind of with dealing with young students like that?
Well, really, Friends of the St. Clair River has a goal of nurturing a pipeline of environmental professionals. So we see these kids, they're out there conducting investigations, they're coming up with their own unique ideas, and we just want to be able to carry that into professionalism and just careers in lucrative settings.
Hope for some future water scientists?
Yes, that's the hope. You know, the kids go where they want to go, and that's great. But if they want more experience in working in environmental science, we're ready for them.
Well, thank you so much for being with us. It's so important, the work that you guys do at Friends of the St. Clair River, especially including the students. For Dateline Schools, I'm Chris Troy. Dateline Schools is a presentation of St. Clair County RESA.